something about full stack development. So already we had got an idea about that. Full stack development is a combination of multiple technologies. Okay. So in the last class we have discussed something about men stack. Okay. So men stack is a combination of multiple technologies. It contains like MongoDB. It contains like MongoDB and MongoDB is the database, which is the backend, and Express.js is a middleware, and Node.js, and finally React.js. Okay, so these are the technologies are involved in the man stack. Okay, so already we know that the application is a combination of majorly three part: front end, middleware, and backend. Okay, so as you can see, just a minute, I will share the screen. Okay, right. So see here, the combination of multiple technologies, nothing but Manstack, MongoDB, Express.js, Node.js, and React.js. So already we know that the multiple technologies. The React is from front end, and Express and Node from middleware, and MongoDB is from backend. So in the last class we have discussed this topic. And if I want to learn these technologies, so mandatory you should aware of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, so you should know these technologies to learn the topics. You can observe that Express.js is a JavaScript library. Node.js is also a JavaScript library. React.js is also a JavaScript library. Okay, so the name indicates the JavaScript is very important to understand Express, Node, and React in the future. So in today's class, we are going to discuss about JavaScript. We are going to discuss about JavaScript. So I hope you know about HTML and CSS. If you don't know, we will discuss it. No, not a problem. Okay, so we will start discussing the JavaScript. So before we start a JavaScript, so what is the need of the JavaScript? What is the need of the JavaScript? So already told you that HTML and CSS is only for create the web pages. Is only for create the web pages. We can create the web pages. So we have already discussed that by using HTML and CSS we can create the web pages. Suppose if I want to display a form, definitely I should use HTML and CSS to represent the form. Suppose there is a requirement. If I want to display some video content or image content, any application, the UI part, the user interface part. So the user interface part is only possible with the help of HTML and CSS. After creating the UI, so the UI must interact with other technologies. So let us take a scenario. Simply, I will use some HTML. So I will go to some browser here. Okay, so within the browser I'll use the ChatGPT. So create a registration form using using HTML and CSS. So it will give you the some sample code of the HTML and CSS. So I will copy this code after creating. So it is creating like email, password, and number. Just wait for it 1 minute. So it will create entire registration form. Okay, so now you can observe this registration form here. Okay, so just wait a minute. So meanwhile, we will discuss. Suppose let us take an example. Registration form is available. Registration form is available. So let us take an example. Registration form is already available. So what happened next? What happened next? In the registration form, we have the button. We have the button. This button. When I click on this button, the data should read. The data should read by something program, and the data should store in the database. The data should store in the database. Okay, so let us take an example. This is the database. So whatever the data we are going to submit, whatever the data we are going to supply in the registration form, so when I click on the button, it should read something in the middleware. From the middleware, it should communicate with the database. In the database, we have to store the data. So that is what happened when you click on the registration form. Okay, I will show you the demonstration. I will show you the demonstration. So just observe. I will use some this HTML code, just copy and paste. So I will execute this HTML from the browser, from the browser. So just give me a minute. I will open the HTML form in the browser. So open with Chrome. Okay, so now you can observe this is the form. You can observe this is the form. Okay, I am going to enter the data from this form, and this complete code is developed by using HTML and CSS, right? So when you right click on a view page source, so you can see the complete code of the registration form. So it is the combination of CSS and HTML. CSS and HTML. So I hope you guys all about this idea about this HTML and CSS. Now, when we have this form, so we are going to enter the data. Suppose let us assume I am going to enter some data like user1 and user1 at the rate gmail.com and some password and some age here and some gender. So I will select any of the gender here. So after selecting and after fill all the fields, and I will click on the button called as register button. I'll click on the button called as register button. When I click on the register button, so let us take an example. This is the registration button. So when I click on this registration button, the data should forward from HTML to some other thing. The data should forward from HTML to some other program. That program is really responsible to store the data into the database. So this is what happened when you click on the registration button. But we have only the form. We have only the form in the HTML. So that means we have only this design phase. We have only this UI part. There is no part is generated. So we have done with registration form, but we have not done with capturing the data, and we have not done with storing the data. So this is what we have to learn. So only HTML and CSS is not sufficient to develop dynamic pages. It's not sufficient to develop a dynamic pages, a dynamic content or dynamic behavior. So to apply the dynamic behavior, we will use a JavaScript. So so it is a programming technology. It is a programming technology. Or or we can also call it as or we can also call it as script scripting language. We can also call it as scripting language. So what is the meaning of scripting language and what is the meaning of programming language? So we should know the difference. The programming technology we are calling and scripting college language we are also call. Why these two? Because JavaScript is the combination of script code as well as programming code. So what is the meaning of script code? It contains some tags. It contains some tags like script. Within the script, we will use some HTML tags also. We can embed. We use the word called as embed. We use the called as embed. So we will embed. We will embed the HTML. We will embed the or we will integrate. We can integrate HTML tags. We can integrate HTML tag into the JavaScript. So that is the reason why. So JavaScript is a scripting language, and so we can use normal programming terminologies like variables and functions, variables and functions and arrays. So and most of the things, most of whatever we can do like control statement and conditional statement, control statement and conditional statement, like that. Whatever we use with the general programming like C and Java, so those are all we can use within the JavaScript. So that is the reason why we call a JavaScript is a programming technology as well as a scripting technology. Then what is the use of this JavaScript exactly? So why we need to learn this JavaScript? So basically the JavaScript is a technology and the JavaScript is also called as a scripting language. So we can use this JavaScript. We can use this JavaScript so only for dynamic changes and dynamic behavior, as well as already we have told in the last class, to provide the client side validation, to provide the client side validations. We can provide the client side validation, as well as some amount of time we can provide the event handling mechanism. We will discuss what is event handling mechanism. But as of now, so understand the concept. JavaScript is nothing but a programming technology or scripting language which is used to provide dynamic nature to the HTML pages, as well as client side validation, as well as to perform the event handling mechanism. So by using this only, so we should implement the JavaScript. Then how to implement this JavaScript? How to implement the JavaScript? So in order to apply the JavaScript, so we are going to write a script tag. We are going to write scripts. So we call it as, we are going to write scripts. We are going to write scripts. So are statements, or we can say instructions, So we should write scripts or statements or instructions of the Java into the HTML file. So we will write the scripts or statements or instruction into the HTML file. So within the HTML file, we will write all these things. Then what are the statements are available and what are the instructions are available to apply the JavaScript into the HTML? So we will discuss here. So majorly there are three types of JavaScript we can write within the HTML. The first one, inline JavaScript. The second one, internal JavaScript. The second one is internal JavaScript. The third one is external JavaScript. So these are the three ways to we can write the JavaScript into the HTML file. So JavaScript we can write within the HTML file only, or else we can write within the external Java files also. So what external JavaScript file must contain an extension called as .js, and this internal and external we will write within the .html file only, within the .html file only. So we will discuss one by one. We will discuss one by one. Okay, simple, simple. I will write some sample program here. So just observe. I will write one sample program here. So simple. So so my file dot html, my file dot html. So starting tag, this is html, it is common to all, and header tag, so within the header tag I will use some title, so my first javascript, okay, the title is nothing but browser window title, and we have the body tag, so within the body tag we can write anything. So header tag I am using, I will write h3, some id is equal to, so my id, or so simple text 101 is the id. Let us take an example, anything. So hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? So this is the sample message, so which is displayed in the HTML. So you can execute this HTML from the browser. myfile.html we should open with the Chrome browser, so that you can see the output. Hi, how are you? So you can also see the same message and the same content within the view source option from the browser. Suppose the same code, if I want to display in the JavaScript, then what we need to do is I can write a script in the header tag. Script open and script close. There is an option called as console.log. Same message I would like to display some welcome message. So welcome to JavaScript. Okay, simple. So when I refresh the button, there is no output. Only thing is hi, how are you from the HTML. Then we have written some concept called as script and console.log. The console.log is displayed within the browser. So welcome to JavaScript. So when you open the developer tools from the browser, there is an option called as console. Within the console we can get the output like this, welcome to JS. So why we need to use this console.log? So why we need to use without displaying directly within the browser? Suppose let us assume, suppose there is a problem in the program, so we don't know where it is the problem occurred. So that's where, for debugging purpose, how the program is executing, the debugging purpose, we are going to use the console here. So that is the reason why the statement is, or instruction is, console.log welcome to JavaScript. Within the body also we can able to display the script. So within this also you can use console.log. So something I will use some by statement, console.by. So when you execute this application, so welcome to JS and by message from the console, and hi, how are you from the HTML program. So this output is displayed from the JavaScript. So here we use a script tag. This script tag from the header tag and this script tag from the body tag. So generally this is called as inline script. Generally, this type of script is called as inline script. Right? This type of script is called as internal script. Internal script. So already I told you that there are three kinds of JavaScript we can apply within the HTML. First one is inline, the second one is internal, and the third one is external. And third one is external. So what is the inline? What is the inline? So when you write the script tag within the header tag, the script tag within the header tag, so it is called as inline. When you write the script tag within the body, that is nothing but internal JavaScript. So inline JavaScript as well as internal JavaScript. So next, what is external? The external means the separate file we have to write. Suppose I will write so scripts.js. So here you can directly mention console.log. You no need to write like a scripted tag within the HTML. So why? Because if you write JavaScript within the HTML, mandatory you have to start with script. But if it is there is a separate file, you no need to write the tags here. Directly you can write the JavaScript code. So this is from external JavaScript. This is from external JavaScript. So here you no need to write the tags because it is not from the HTML. Directly it is from JavaScript. So all the JavaScript file extension should be .js. Extension should be .js. But if I want to execute this .js, so mandatory we have to use some statement called as src or source. So src, and src is nothing but script.js. So this is how we need to include that external jar file into the HTML. So we can separately write the external JS, but we should include it within the HTML with the help of script tag attribute called as so welcome to JS, and this is from external JS. So you can observe my file.html and script.js is executed successfully. So what is the meaning is, so src is an attribute of the script tag. Src is an attribute to the script tag. If I want to include external file, so mandatory we have to use src attribute. So what is the src attribute? Src attribute of script tag, that is src is nothing but source. The source file you have to mention. So this is how external JS will work. So already I told you that JavaScript is used to provide dynamic content to the static pages. So we can convert the static pages into dynamic pages. So that is the reason why we should use the JavaScript. And not only for dynamic changes, so some amount of time we will provide the client side validation. Some amount of time we will provide the event handling mechanism. So that is the reason why we have to use the JavaScript. So there are three types of JavaScript: inline, internal, and external. So when you write a script tag within the head, so that is the inline JavaScript. When you write a script tag within the body, so that is nothing but internal JavaScript. So when you write a separate file for the JavaScript by using .js extension of the file, so that is nothing but external. So how to include that external file into the HTML? So we are going to use src attribute. By using this src attribute, so we will include the external JavaScript file into the HTML. Okay, so let us check. as check. Let us check about the JavaScript. So now see here, what is a JavaScript? JavaScript is the programming languages for web users to convert the static pages into dynamic pages. So here they are using the word called as programming languages. The meaning of the programming languages, we can use all the statements, whatever we do with the C language and whatever we do with the Java or Python, like normal programming language, all the stuff we can do here. That is the reason why we call it as a programming language. Okay. And the scripting language is one of the controls the environment which runs. But JavaScript is a full-fledged programming language because huge capabilities are there for developing the web application. So why? Because it contains the control structure, it contains the operators, it contains the statement, it contains the object and functions. So what they are saying is, so it is a full-fledged programming language. Why? Because it contains a lot of capabilities for developing the web application, like all the statement. Already I told you that whatever we do with the programming, so all the concepts are available. And JavaScript is an interpreted language. JavaScript is a interpretation language. What is the meaning of interpretation? So why? Because the interpretation, all the tags are interpreted by the browser. All the tags are interpreted by the browser. So when you observe this, there is a tag called as a script tag, and within the script tag we have the log and by message, and we have the script tag, we have the header tag. So all these tags are processed by the browser, and finally we will get only the output. Finally we will get only the output. These tags are processed by the browser. So that is the reason why JavaScript is also a interpretation language. As well as JavaScript code is embedded. JavaScript code is embedded into the web pages. That means we can embed that JavaScript code into the HTML. And every browser, here you can observe the multiple browsers are available. The multiple browsers are available, like so Netscape, Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, Opera, and Safari, Internet Explorer. So all these browsers are available. There are from different browsers from different companies. So every browser uses commonly a JavaScript runtime. Every browser internally uses a JavaScript runtime for interpreting, for executing the JavaScript code. So here you can observe the spider monkey is uses by the Netscape and Mozilla Firefox. V8 engine is used by the Google Chrome and Opera. JavaScript core is used by the Safari, and Chakra core is used by the Internet Explorer. So these are the different kinds of JavaScript runtimes are available for executing the JavaScript code. So most of the time we will use the Google Chrome. The Google Chrome is used at V8 JavaScript engine, and there are different kinds of scripting, like inline scripting, internal scripting, and external scripting. So already I told you that when you write the script tag within the head tag, so that is the inline, and when you write the body script tag within the body, that is internal, and when you write separate JS file and when you include with the help of src attribute, that is nothing but external JS. So external JavaScript file, that extension must be .js, extension must be .js. And after that, so we have a lot of features. We have a lot of features with the JavaScript. So JavaScript is a lightweighted, and JavaScript is a case sensitive. So HTML is not a case sensitive, but whereas JavaScript is a case sensitive. and it is also called as a scripting language, and we can provide the client side validation, and it is also provide the features like object oriented programming, like whatever the concepts are available with the programming. So whatever the task like object classes, arrays and functions, so all these things we can perform with the object oriented. And event handling, we will discuss what is event handling like. So interpretation, that is nothing but interpretation, all the tags are processed by the browser. And by using JavaScript, we will provide the server side technologies like Node.js and Express.js. So when we discuss about Node.js and Express.js, that is completely a server side technology. We will discuss it there. Okay. So next. So identifiers, working with the identifiers. Majorly in the JavaScript, there are only three types of identifiers. So identifiers are nothing but you can say the variables. The identifiers are nothing but something variables. So we can see that variables can be defined. That variables can be defined with the help of this identifiers. So majorly there are only three types of identifiers. The first one is let, and the second one is constant, and the third one is a variable. So I can say one thing: the JavaScript is a loosely typed language. There are two concepts: so strong typed and loose typed. So when you observe the programming languages like C language and Java language, we have the data types. We have the data types like primitive data types like integer, log, float, double, character, like that data types are available. But within the JavaScript there are no data types, so directly you can create any of the identifier. With the help of the identifier, we will create the variable, and we can store any kind of data into the variable. So that is the reason why JavaScript is nothing but loosely typed. So any data we can store it. So majorly we will use the these three identifier. Why these three? So there are let, constant, and variable. So there is something difference. There is something difference among this identifier. We will discuss it. So an identifier declaring use let keyword is a block scope that is available only within the block in which it is defined. The meaning is the let is scope. The let scope limited to a particular block or particular function, a particular area of the code. That means suppose if I write within the per loop, so that is available within the loop only. Suppose if I write within the like class, that scope of the variable or identifier is only available to the particular class. So limited to a particular area, a particular block. So we use let keyword. We use let keyword. So for restricting the data into the particular block or function or class. So this is how we will declare let name. So we are declaring the name is the identifier name with the help of the keyword called as let. So this is available only within the limit. So next constant. So these are all for creating the variables. These are let or constant and variable. So all these are used to create the variables only. So within that variables we will store the values or object. We will store the values or object. We will discuss what are the variables. But when you create the constant, so it should not be alter. So it is not possible to alter the value. So the scope of the constant is also a block. So with where we can define that particular place we can. But so once we define, we cannot modify. We cannot modify. So here example, the pi value is 3.14. When I try to change the value, so this will throw an error message because the pi value is declared with the help of constant identifier. So and after that the variable is also like a constant, but we can modify it, generally it is A4 size when we go for the printing the document, so it is suitable. So that is the reason why. And and the variable can be modified, whereas the constant variables are not possible to modify. So simple here, we'll go to a javascript here, so simple, I'll delete this javascript, inline javascript. I'll continue without external javascript. I'll continue without javascript. Simple, let variable a not 1 and constant b is equal to some user not 1 and variable c equal to some average. So here the first one is integer, the second one is a string, and third one is a double. The third one is double. So I would like to display the data console.log.a and console.log of b and console.log of c. Console.log of c. Console.log of c. Okay, so simple. So we'll go to the browser. The file name is myfile.html. So when you observe the 101, user 101 and 98.3. So here when you observe the data, the first one is integer. And the second one is a string, and the third one is average in the form of double. So but we didn't use anything. The data type, we didn't use any data type. So directly we create the variable called as a, b and c. Okay, a and b, c, and we have stored different kind of things here. Okay, simple. Type of a, we will check whether the data type is integer or not. Okay, so 101 is something. So a comma type of a, I think it is possible or not. So right, possible. Right. So b comma type of b and c comma type of c. So type of function. So type of function is used to find out which type of data it is. So I am printing the a first. I am printing the type of the variable. I'm printing the b again, and I'm printing the type of b. Finally, I'm printing the c variable data, and what is the type of c variable data here. So when I run this program, so 101 is a number, and user 101 is a string, and 98.3 is also a number. Okay, so these are the different data types, so we can achieve with the JavaScript, but we are not using the any particular in a C language. What we need to do, we have to use the int I is equal to 101, and we have to use some character array, and within the character, so we have to use some name. Like this. But this is not required. Like using the data type like integer and character. So this is called as strongly typed. strongly typed. This is called as strongly typed. And this is called as anything we can use. Suppose within the a variable directly I can store the string. I can store the string. No need to change the variable name, and no need to change the identifier keyword called as a letter something. So whatever the data you can directly store. So now the string, the first one is string and the second one is string and last one is number. So like this you can store anything within the variable. So this is called as loosely typed. JavaScript is a loosely typed language, and type of method is used to find out the what type of data it is storing, what type of data it contains. And coming to the point, there are comments. There are comments. These are a single line comments. Okay, these are single line comments. So I can use a multi-line comments also. I can use multi-line comments also with the help of this different syntax, with the help of different context. So these are multiple. These are multiple comments syntax, and this is single line comment. This is single line comment. This is single line comments, and this is multi-line comments. This is multi-line comments. This is multi-line comments. So this is how we have to work with the JavaScript. So mandatory, if I want to write the JavaScript within the HTML, we have to use the script tag, and within the script tag you can declare the variables. You can declare the variables with the help of identifiers, with the help of identifiers and keyword. So majorly all the identifiers are categorized into three types: let, constant and variable. So let is only limited scope, and constant once we declare we cannot modify, but the variable it is similar to, very convenient to the A4 size paper, but the variable data we can modify. So this kind of statements we can use. Already we know that console.log for debugging the code, to print what happening in the every step, or what happening in the coming coding. Okay, and the type of operator or function which is used to find out the type of the variable, which is used to find out the variable. Suppose and there are data types. There are data types. The data types are categorized into two types again: primitive and non-primitive. Primitive and non-primitive. The non-primitive means only the object. The non-primitive means only the object. We will discuss what is object exactly. And primitive, the primitives are number. Already we have seen here in the last example, and we have seen the string. And there are anything called a boolean. The boolean value is nothing but true and false. The true and false. And undefined and null values. Undefined and null values. So null, undefined, boolean, string, number comes under the primitive data type, and the object is the non-primitive. Object is the non-primitive. We will discuss what is primitive and what is non-primitive. So we will discuss. Okay, we will discuss. Next we have to discuss functions. We have to discuss the functions in the JavaScript. What are the functions are available? What are the functions are available, and how to declare a function? How to declare a function? So the syntax, we have to write the function keyword. We have to write the function keyword followed by function name, followed by function name, followed by function name, and parenthesis, open the function and close the function. Open the function and close the function. Okay, so within this function you can write any number of statements. 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 Okay, the function name, function name, and we can write within the function. You can write any number of step. Simple, simple. Along with this, I will write one function here. So function name can be anything. So I will use do valid. Open the function and close the function. Open the function and close the function. Simple. Within this, I will use some alert function. I will use some alert function. Within the alert function, I from function. I from function. I from function called as do valid. I from function called as do valid. We have written the function. We have written the function. So this function syntax is called as function declaration. This function syntax is called as function declaration or function definition. So we call it as declaration or definition. Declaration or definition. Okay. So after declaration or definition, okay, so we should call the function. We should call the function. We should call the function. Until unless we call the function will not get executed. Will not get executed. For that, what we need to do is, we have to use some events. We have to use some events. What are the events are available? We will discuss here. I will discuss here. Yeah. Give a minute. We will show you. Yeah. These are the events. Okay. These are the events. Some events are there. There are multiple events. The first one is mouse event. The second one is keyboard event, and the third one is form events, and fourth one is window or document event. So these are the events. By using this event, so we can call the function. So first one is mouse event, the second one is keyboard events, and the third one is window or events, third one is form events, and fourth one is window or document event. So based on these events, we can call the functions. So we will discuss one by one. So simple. Use the mouse event. So there is a click event. The function name is on click. So we call it as an event, and we call it as event handler. Okay. So event handler is on click. When key press is the event, the handler of the key press is on key. So on is the word is going to be added for every event. Click on click. Mouse over on mouse over. Mouse out on mouse out. For every action, it treated as one event. For every action with the mouse, with the keyboard, with the window, with the form is called as an event. Particular event, for each and every event there is a separate handler. So those handlers are start with on word. Okay. So for each and every, so I will use some on click. So on click means this is the mouse event. when the mouse click on the element, when the mouse click on the element, suppose let us assume we should create the element, we should create the element. So simply I'll create some button, simply I'll create some button. So button value, the button value, suppose the button value is click, the button value is click, so button close. So for this button I will use an event handler called as onClick. For this button I will use the event handler called as onClick. So what is the function we have written? Do valid, do valid. I will use the function name here, I will use the function name here, so that when I click on this button, when I click on this button, so directly a do valid function got executed, so that I will get this output when I click on the button only, when I click on the button only. So simply refresh. So this is the button, this is the button. So I will write the button name here. So click, click, and go to the browser, and go to the browser and refresh, go to the browser and refresh. So the button name is click. So see the output, hi how are you is only displayed from the HTML. So that is s3 tag, that is s3 tag. But when I click on the button, then only it can execute the so do valid function, do valid function. So when you open this, when you open this in the developer mode, when you open this in the developer mode, so simply the output is generated, the console.log output is generated. So when I click on the button, when I click on the button, the function got executed within the function. So we have written the statement called as alert function. That alert is nothing but like this, the alert is nothing but like this, I from the function called as do valid. So this type of messages you can see when you go for registration form. So the username is required, the password is required, and your registration successfully, and your registration is failed, try again. Those kinds of messages we will display with the help of alert, we will display with the help of alert. So we will discuss everything about this events and event handler in the coming classes. But as of now, just observe the functions are executed. The functions are executed. The functions are executed. So if and only if when you call the function, and those function calling should be possible. Those functions should be possible with the help of events. Events. What are the events are available? There are multiple types of events: mouse, keyboard, form, and window or document events. Window or document event. So these are all comes under a single object. These are all comes under single object called as document object model. Document object model. Document object model. What is the document object model? So document object model is the single page, is the entire page. We will discuss here. Just a minute. So we will discuss clearly. Okay, just give you a minute. I will show you what is happening. So JavaScript is important. So if you want to learn multiple technologies like React, Express.js and MongoDB, so JavaScript is mandatory. So without JavaScript, so it is highly impossible to learn. So React like Express and Node.js. So you must aware of JavaScript. Okay, very important. Yeah. document object model. Document object model. So we call it as dom. We call it as dom. Dom is nothing but document object model. So this document object represent the entire HTML document. So basically this object document model is the part of window, is part of window, is part of window. So window is the combination of document, history, screen, navigator and location. Okay, so the document object represent an HTML document. It forms DOM. DOM is nothing but document object model. So we will discuss what is object and what is model and what is document. The document is nothing but a page. A document is nothing but a page. That whole document is comes under within the document. The document is the part of window, is part of window. So that is the reason why window dot document, window dot document. So we can also call this document object, we can also call this document object called as root element. Root element. Why? Because so it contains so many components. It contains so many component. Suppose if I want to display a form, it is the part of the document. If I want to provide the link, so it is also part of the document. If I want to display some anchor tag, so it is also part of document. If I want to display the button, so it is also part of document. So anything if I want to display, if I want to display within the page, all comes under document object, all comes under document object. So that is the reason why, so this document object model is called as root element. This document object is called as root element of the HTML document. So there are some methods, there are some methods. So get element by id, get element by id, get element by name, get elements by tag. So majorly we will use these two methods. We will use these two methods. Okay. So what I told, so DOM, what I told, so DOM document object model, document object model, document object model. So it is the root element, it is the root element, it is the root element of entire HTML page, entire HTML page. So it consists of it consists of so many components. It consists of so many components, not so many, it consists of all components, consists of all components. It is the window object and it is the subpart, it is the subpart of window object, it is the subpart of window object. It is the subpart of window object. It is the subset of subpart of window object. So that is the reason why you can write in a both the way. You can write in a both the way. So you can write window dot document, window dot document dot get element by id, get element by id. So we have to supply the id here, we have to supply the id here, or else, or else we can also write, we can also write like this, we can also write like this, get element by id or document dot get element by id. So both are same, both are same. So you can write anything, you can write anything like the window dot document or document dot get element by id. So not only this, not only this, so you can write get element by name, get element by name, get element by name. Okay. So there are two types of functions, inbuilt functions of the document, inbuilt functions of the document, get element by id and get element by name, get element by name. Get element by name. So one is used by the tag. So this id, so this name, this get element by id is for tags, is for tags, and this for id attribute, and this is for id attribute, this is for id attribute, this is for id attribute. So you can see the example here, you can see the example here. So id is text 101. So you can read the value, you can read the value get element by id. So get element by id means some h3, h3 is the tag name. So if I want to represent, if I want to represent simple, I will show you the example here. I will show you the example here. So get element by id is nothing but text 101, and get element by name is nothing but some tag here, some tag here. So this is like, this is how we will read the tax data or tax information. So there are majorly two types of method: get element by id and get element by name. So generally get element by name is used with the help of the tax name, and get element by id by using the id attribute. So this is how we will read the data, we will read the data. Okay, simple, simple. So there is a form which is generated by the chat gpt. You can observe here, there is a name attribute, there is a name attribute here, gender, there is a name attribute, there is a name attribute for label. So there is no id and name. Okay, so simply I will use id here, simply I will use id. Id is equal to, id is equal to full name I will mention as f name, and id equals to email, id equals to email, and password id is equal to some password, id is equal to some password, and number that is nothing but age, age id is equal to age, id is equal to age, and gender, for gender also I will use some instead of name I will use id, I will use id, I will use id. Okay, I will use id for every attribute, for every tags there is a id, there is a id. I will write script here, I will write script here, script, and I will write some function, I will write some function here. Within the function, function name, within the function name I will use a document object, that is DOM object, so which is the support of window object. Get element, there is a function called as get element by id. The id name is, the first one is f name dot value, dot value. So I will use some variable name, so let f name, let f name. So the variables are declared with the help of let constant or variable, whatever it is. And after that I will use some console.log, console.log, and f name I will write, f name I will write. So simple. The file name is test.html, the file name is test.html. So I will execute that file, I will execute that file. So I will verify the code is updated or not, the code is updated or not. Id is gender, id is age, id is password, id is email, and id is f name. So we have written the function also, do valid, and I am reading that f name with the help of the document object and with the help of the function called as get element by id, and after that we are displaying the same data of within the console. Simple. Simple. I will just type something. I will just type something. Okay. Some gender. I'll click on the button. Okay. Some validations. .com. Some validation and register. Okay. Oh, right. Some validation function. There is nothing is displayed here. There is nothing is displayed here because the function always executed with the help of the events. With the help of the events. So I will check on click. On click, the function should get execute do valid. The function should get executed as do valid. So on click event, I am using event handler so that I will execute the same form here. I will execute the same form here or something. So at the date gmail or .com and some password and some age and some age and some gender and click on the button. So when you observe here, suppose user1 and user1 at the date gmail.com and password something and age is something, and when I click on the mail, so the user1 is displayed here. Why? Because automatically when I click on the button, so it is automatically read the first name. It read the first name. So that is possible. Suppose if I enter user2, if I enter user2, the user2 is readed successfully. The user2 is readed successfully. Suppose if I enter user3, the user3 is also readed. So how to read the form data with the help of JavaScript? With the help of JavaScript. So we have written the script. And within the script we use the document object. From the document we use the predefined function called as get element by id. With the help of id and with the help of name, both the things we use, and that value we can display within the console. After reading the value, you can verify whether it is empty or whether it is a string or whether it is a number. So like that we can compare and we will validate the data. So to compare and to check the data, so we have couple of control statement, couple of conditional statement, and couple of operators we have like C and Java. So we need to discuss that also. But today the thing is, what is a JavaScript? What is JavaScript? So JavaScript is only for changing static content into the dynamic, and it is a nothing but programming technology and a scripting language. Why? Because we will integrate the JavaScript into the HTML tags, okay, to perform the client side validation and event handling. I told you that event handling are nothing but mouse event, keyboard events, and form events, and document and window events. So to perform those events also we will use the JavaScript. So there are three ways to define the JavaScript. So first one is inline, the second one is internal, and the third one is external. So inline means when you write the script tag within the header tag, so that is the inline. So when you write the script tag within the body, that is internal. When you separately write the .js, so it is nothing but external JavaScript. So we have to include the JavaScript with the help of src attribute from the script tag, and we can write functions within the JavaScript. So the declaration of the function is nothing but the function keyword you have to use and followed by the function name. And when you declare the function, we should call the function, and until unless call the function will not get executed. So to call that function, we have to use any of the event like mouse, keyboard, and form and window. So majorly we need to talk about document object model. So it is the root element of the HTML page, and it consists of all the component, and it is the part of the window. So majorly this object is used to read the elements, So there are two ways, by id and by name. So with the help of the tags and with the help of the ids, so we can read the value. So here is the example. We have written the function, and from the registration page, so we'll try to read it out. So in the coming classes we have to discuss what are the uh, variables we have discussed, like let, constant, and variable. We have already discussed that. We need to more concentrate on the document object model and object model, control statement and conditional statement, and what are the operators we have, like that we have to discuss. Okay, so this is the overview about the JavaScript, and this is the class. So if you have any doubt, you can ask. Okay, is this clear? Right. So we'll continue in the next class. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all.